How's it going, everyone? Nathan coming back at you with their Pokemon Showdown Live. We're playing some more Monotype, and to decide today's typing, I've been counting up all the votes, and it looks like our boy Rock here has won it all again, which is a little bit disappointing for me, if I'm being 100% honest. I find Rock to be, I don't know, I don't want to exaggerate. I don't want to discourage anybody who likes Rocks, but I think personally, it might be the most difficult typing to play in Monotype. And the reasons aren't that difficult. I think it's probably the only type out there in contention with Ice for the worst defensive typing in Pokemon. Water, fighting, grass, ground, steel is pretty yikes. But unlike Ice, which has a ton of crazy offense going in its favor, you get things like Slush Rush, Kyurem White, Darmanitan. You have your Weather Setter as a great Auroraville setter, which helps you set up with other hyper offense Pokemon. And Ninetales Alola. There's a lot, in the favor of Ice for being a hyper offense, to the point where defensive utility doesn't really matter too much. But Rock, man, it doesn't really, it's got it's got Sandstorm, which is great because it improves the special defense of all rock types by 50%. So if you're smart about your Tyranitar, you can keep it, your team essentially having a +1 to speed off the whole game. That's pretty awesome. It's like an Assault Vest. We love that, but we don't really have any, I could be wrong. I should probably check right now. We don't have any Sand Rush abusers besides Lycanroc, who really, this is the worst Lycanroc, not Lycanroc Dusk. Lycanroc Dusk is definitely the better one because it's got Tough Claws, and its speed is never the issue to begin with, honestly. You're already really fast, and one of its better moves is its priority rock move, Excel Rock. So again, it's kind of like giving extra attack power to a Landorus. It's like, cool, a choice band Landorus is awesome, but it's not really what we need right now. We've got more than enough attack. We need to make up speed, which is why Scarf is common or whatever. So anyways, Rock I just have difficulty with. And so obviously ground is really common in Monotype. Water is very common. Steel is pretty common too, which means that our stab can't get through. And it's worth pointing out that if you look at your average Mono Rock team, which is 6 Rhyperiors, obviously. I think we all know that. I know I had that up. Let me get like a pretty standard looking Mono Rock. I've got about 11 teams, so we know I've been trying. I've been doing my best here. This one's pretty standard. Okay, so like a pretty standard Mono Rock team would look something akin to this in a general shape like this. And unlike a lot of other types that we've used so far, like normal or poison or steel, that don't use a lot of their stab. So for example, you can say one of the biggest problems with Mono Normal is that you have no super effective attacks to leverage, right? With normal attacks, and you have a losing matchup to steel because normal type attacks are resisted by steel. But almost nobody on normal type teams uses that stab, uses normal type attacks, so you're fine for the most part. You don't have to care if it's a weak offensive typing. But in opposition here with Rock, we actually are relying on our stab quite a bit. Everybody here that's an attacking mon, with the exception of Colossal, who actually I would argue isn't really an attacking mon, does really rely on their Rock stab, which is two problems. One, as an offensive type, being weak against fighting, ground, and steel is very difficult for sure. You're only super effective against Bug, Fire, and Ice. Ice is more normally outspeeding you. Fire we'll get to, Bug we'll get to, and Flying, actually, I'll get to all 4 of them. What am I talking about? But the other problem is all these stab attacks are really inaccurate. So I've been laddering a lot with Rock lately, trying to figure stuff out and try to be as prepared as possible. I don't like to get an account into the top 500 and show you guys some high ladder games. But the biggest problem I've been coming across, no exception, is how inaccurate their Rock stabs are. So Meteor Beam, 90% accurate, which is seems pretty highly accurate, but you miss one of those and it completely throws apart your entire gameplay because the Heligo is so important to how Mono Rock functions. Stone Edge, even Rock Slide. So even if you're saying Nathan, you're using an inaccurate move in Stone Edge, if I always say you can't complain about Hydro Pump when Surf is a perfectly good and usable move. Well, first of all, Rock Slide is a huge reduction in power. 25 base power is big. Yes, you get the 30% chance to flinch, but most of these Pokemon are slow anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it's even still, it's only 10% more accurate. It's a terrible trade-off. So that sucks. So you're just so often I'm playing a game where my Terrakion can win, but I just look at it and I have to hit 4 or 5 Stone Edges and I go, no, there's no way. I need to find a new game plan that relies on close combats winning, and then it's a little bit better. But even still, I don't want to be too down on it because we look at these Pokemon, Chuckles is great for HO. Heligo, amazing Pokemon, especially on offensive teams. In Mono Poison Stall teams, you often still throw in a Power or Meteor Beam Heligo because it's so good defensively with this outrageous special defense, but also just having that good of a sweeper that can, out of nowhere, boost by 2 stages to special attack and speed is insane. Terrakion, one of the best defensive Pokemon period. Tyranitar, obvious threat forever, and Rhyperior, which is really interesting with weakness policy because its physical defense is so absurd and so ridiculous, not unlike Nihilego, that even when people attack it, it can still get off a weakness policy, and it's at +2 to its base 140 attack. That's right, it's the same stat as Landorus. And Earth Rock is a pretty good stab combination. You can hit most things pretty solidly with that. Anything you can't, you can shore up with a Fire Punch or Ice Punch. So these Pokemon shouldn't be terrible on paper. And the thing is, again, their defensive typing is awful. We're not going to last any game defensively. It's too bad because I'd love to throw on a Credilli, which is a great defensive mon on a team like this. It's got Storm Drain. It's neutral to grass type attacks. You know, I would love to find a slot for Credilli on this team. But the fact is we don't really have this space for a purely defensive mon. Even Colossal's pretty arguable. And it's doing a lot to help our team, like offering a Scizor resist and all kinds of steel resist. It's got crazy physical defense, and it's giving us spikes and rapid spin, which is really good. Because guess what? Rock doesn't even resist Stealth Rocks either. Awesome. Thank you so much. This team gets destroyed by webs too, because all these Pokemon are grounded. But Shuckle, I'm sorry, I'm so negative on the tone here. I hate this. Again, I hate the idea of a mono rock player watching this and just feeling crushed, but I'm being honest for now. I'll get to the good points at some point. Shuckle's amazing, though. That's one of the good points for sure. It's always going to get up one of these two. Encore is such an underrated aspect of this. There's oftentimes I'll go for sticky webs, and my opponents are setting up. I Encore them right away. I swap out to the appropriate counter, and then I'm just starting the game off on a great note. Or maybe, you know, I have Tyranitar, and he's choice locked into Earthquake. Corviknight swaps in, it starts bulking up or iron defensing. No problem, I go to Shuckle and I Encore. And even if they predict what I'm going for in the Encore, then I'm still locking them in, and it's so hanky that I'll be able to live 3 or 4 attacks of almost anything. So that's really awesome. But I want to get back to this sort of Smogon page, talking about the sort of weaknesses and offenses here, and talk about one of the biggest problems, which is you would think with Rock, okay, sure, you lose pretty hard to Steel. Again, you're relying on on Rock stab a lot, so Steel is going to be... Yeah, you lose pretty hard to Water. That's a given. You know, they're so fast in the rain, and they can sweep you with Barraskewda. Like, Barraskewda, just look at this team. It doesn't even need rain to kind of destroy you, honestly. I think, honestly, it's not the worst. If I look at all of these typings, I think Water's better than you would think, because you can beat the own, but you can remove the weather with Tyranitar here. But you have to burn the Barraskewda with Flame Body. Amazing ability, but like, this is honestly your best chance of winning the game. And even then, like, you're kind of hoping for some misplay. So Water's, I think we can understand why it's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as you think. Steel is pretty terrible just because your Steel stab is really weak against it. It's mostly just the Celesteela, if we're being honest. If not for Celesteela, Pokemon like Colossal, Rhyperior, and Abandoned Tyranitar can go really far for sure. Terrakion, actually, close combat with Scarf is amazing. Destroys even a Scarf Excadrill. That's awesome for us, especially if we get webs up. So now Tyranitar is hitting these stab crunches, and it's faster than the whole team. That's pretty fantastic. But just, you know, I think Celesteela is like the ultimate low tier destroyer when it comes to just like, if you ever have a questionable matchup, Celesteela can just rinse you. And it's all especially bad against a team like this that has so many choice banded Pokemon, because I'll go to my Tyranitar, it gets leech seeded, I lock into Fire Punch as they protect, and then they swapped out their Heatran. So they swapped out their Heatran, and then I double to my Rhyperior or my Terrakion. And then it protects, and it sees, oh, he's locked into close combat, I'm gonna go my Aegislash. Or even if it's Rhyperior who isn't choice locked, you click Earthquake as they protect, and they just go right back to Celesteela, who's not really afraid of a Fire Punch from it anyways. The base defense is so high, and Fire Punch is a pretty weak move without the weakness policy boost. I feel like a poker rap. I'm talking so fast, just like shitting on Mono Rock here. Ground is terrible too, because you have Sandrush Pokemon that you are setting up with your Tyranitar that are just sweeping you with a Banded Excadrill, and you have virtually no flying type on this team. A lot of teams will opt for a flying type Terrakion. I see some players go for something like a Aerodactyl, which makes sense in theory, because obviously any strong Earthquaker is a ridiculous threat to this team. But realistically, like, I think I'm not missing anyone, right? It's just, okay, Archeops, geez. I think it's just Archeops and Aerodactyls are your only true options, right? I guess Credilli would be neutral, but it's more of a Spadef mon. I don't think its defenses are enough to handle a Banded Excadrill. Yeah, I'm not missing anyone. So, I mean, let's look at the defense of these two Pokemon. 65 HP is pretty much the same on both of them too. So if they even remotely predict your swap and click any other move beside Earthquake, you're in trouble. And that's just, you know, if it's against an Excadrill, for example, and it's not choice banded and it's got Iron Head instead, you're kind of screwed over. So ground, I think, is probably the worst. It's definitely up there with grass. Grass is simple. It's just Rillaboom clicks Grassy Glide. That's the thing with grass, is like when Rillaboom can do its stuff. I've been playing a lot of grass lately too, actually. And it's funny because Rillaboom does nothing in a lot of matchups because, again, Celesteela comes up, that Rillaboom's doing maybe 35% with superpower. It's like not very good. Grassy Glide's doing nothing in a lot of matchups with Mono Grass, but it just single-handedly wins you. Like Mono Water, Mono Ground, Mono Rock here for sure. If it's an advantage matchup, Rillaboom is someone you want in your corner. So that's that. You know, and again, it's kind of similar to before with the Barraskewda. If you can get them burned with a Flame Body, that's not bad. And that fire typing is actually really useful for Colossal here. So you can actually probably live 2 or 3, and it takes multiple procs for you to possibly get a Flame Body burn on Rillaboom. That's amazing. Fighting's pretty rough too. It's similar to ground in that not only are they super effective against you, but they also resist your rock stab. Plus, most fighting type Pokemon are just fast and strong. And like, look at Keldeo in particular against this team. It's pretty rough. So again, we don't have to belabor too much, you know, oh, no shit, Rock loses its losing matchups. Like, yeah, no guff. But what I do want to focus on to wrap up my thesis on why I don't like Mono Rock, let's look at these. Because you can say, okay, well, at least it probably wins Bug, Fire, and Ice, and Flying is so common and so like high tier. Like, that's gonna be amazing to be able to destroy Flying, right? Let's go into it. So first of all, there's Ice, and Ice, again, it's pretty good. You can compete the weather with the Tyranitar. You can kill with your Stone Edge. If you get a sweep going with the Nihilego, it's great. I didn't build this team. If I did, I would probably make this so it's boosting speed with Nihilego instead of special attack. I get the appeal in special attack, but this thing at +1 is more than strong enough already. And also probably add a Power Gem, even if it does make the matchup worse versus Mono Water. That's why you run these two, because this can kill most Mono Water Mons. This destroys the Seismitoad that swaps inevitably. But the main problem is just that, you know, a Darmanitan and Galar can just go off on your team, and there's not really any resist to Ice Stab on this team. So it's just an offense versus offense battle at that point. 2 hyper offense teams duking it out. And if they get a lead and they get up a Pokemon, or you don't have a swap in for, you make a bad swap in on a Darmanitan or whatever, that's really the game. So it should be something like, you know, considering how bad these matchups are, you'd hope that Rock Ice is something like 70-30 or whatever. I think it's closer to like 60-40 would be like generous, maybe 55-45 in terms of like how that matchup ratio works out. It's also worth noting with all these Pokemon, they're so slow, right? Like Nihilego is outsped by Gengar and Latios, Pokemon like that to begin with. And then Terrakyon's really fast on this team, even without a Scarf, but Tyranitar, Rhyperior, Colossal, and these are big important Pokemon for defensive reasons too. Like you're gonna be swapping into Tyranitar and Rhyperior a lot. They're so freaking slow that it's hard to get anything going. Fire, on that note, Fire, again, you would think, okay, we resist Fire Stab, which is a big part of Fire's game plan. They're just spamming fire attacks at you nonstop, and our Rock Stab is insane. Like we should just 6-0 that typing, right? Cinderace. Stab, high jump kick, base 115, I think. Speed. Cinderace. Yeah, and you know, that kind of brings me to another point that sucks about Mono Rock. I think an underrated part of what makes Mono Rock bad defensively too, another reason, is that it shares the same defensive weaknesses that Steel has. So what are the big 2 pieces of coverage that everybody has and everybody brings for Steel type Pokemon? Ground and fighting. Like even in our own team, if we look at that, right? Ground, in this case, it's actually ground and fire for the most part with this team. Maybe it's a bad example. But look, ground, fighting, rock. It's almost every Pokemon, if you are resisted by a steel type attack, which is a lot of Pokemon, think of grass, think of poison, think of flying, all of those Pokemon are going to have some sort of fighting ground coverage to beat the common steel type walls. Well, guess what? I've already got that in the bank for when I come across this dumb Mono Rock team here. So that's why every Terrakion I come across on a Mono fighting team is going to have Earthquake coverage too. That's why a Mono Fairymon like a Tapu Bulu would often have ground type coverage and Stomping Tantrum, or at least a close combat sort of coverage. I think it learns a fire type move. This is a bad example. You get the idea. Like these are common coverage types that most Pokemon carry to shore up their weaknesses offensively. So just everybody's got in their pocket something to smoke ground. And sorry, just to finish off this thing here, Bug often has Buzzwole, who really destroys a team like this, especially Scarf Buzzwole. Just clicks close combat 10 times. And you go, Nihiligu's at least neutral to fighting types. But look at that base defense. Ugh. So, you know, if you can get ahead of these Pokemon, it can just totally close combat, sweep your entire team. And that's like been mentioning Scizor, which is a huge reason why I keep Colossal on my team, because Scizor is just such a pest. And even then, Scissor's, you have no recovery on this Pokemon, and Scissor's coming all the time. Speaking of no recovery, unlike a really great sand setter like Hippowdon or with Water, Pelipper, who can come in, set the weather for their team, recover, maybe get up a hazard, swap out, Tyranitar really doesn't have much recovery. Of course, you can very easily do a defensive background, a defensive setting. Of course, you can do a defensive IV or EV set to help shore that up and get sand up more often. But again, we're not a defensive team. We can't last a game that's going to be longer than 20 turns. We need to like get our offense in and out quickly. So that's not going to be very good either. So you're better off leveraging its insane attacking stats and coverage, frankly, and going with this set instead. So realistically, Sandstream, which is one of the bigger benefits of Sand, again, it benefits something that we don't care about a lot, which is our defenses. If it gave us a 50% attack boost, we'd be like, or a speed boost, God, if it gave, you know, similar to a Slush Rush, like we'd be off to the races. But even if it made Rock type attack 50% stronger, we'd be pretty set, but it's not the case, of course. So yeah, you know, Bug is pretty tricky again for Scizor and Buzzwole too. I don't even mention the fact that Volcaronas often cover Giga Drain, but whatever. Finally, Flying, which I think would probably be the biggest, you know, feather in your cap. I think most people would say, sure, but Flying type is arguably like the best typing on the ladder. It's certainly one of the most common. You know, it might suck to be weak against these three, but at least you got Flying in your cap, right? I hate to, again, be such a Debbie Downer, but let's look at the Flying type here. This is a relatively common typing. I think, you know, I'll admit I'm being a little bit, I'm stacking the deck a little bit against Rock here. This might be more common if it was a Tornadus Therian, but this is a team I see very often on the ladder for the sake of conversation, or maybe this is a Multicolor even, which I don't even know if our team handles that well either. You got Tyranitar, sure, but Multicolor kind of murks a lot of the rest of this team. But anyways. Corviknight is neutral to rock type attacks, and it can definitely get set up so that's fine against it. It's also potentially got stab steel type attacks against you. Celesteal, we mentioned, same thing as Corviknight. It's maybe the biggest single Pokemon pest in our side. Zapdos is ultra neutral to our rock type attacks, and also can't OHKO any of us with close combat. Thundurus is definitely weak, but it is not weak to Stealth Rocks, which we're going to try to set up. And it is faster than the majority of our team too. And, you know, if you can get in safely against, let's say Corviknight is about to be fire punched by that Rhyperior, you can go to Thundurus and you can Grass Knot it for the kill. Dragonite's also weak, but it has multi-scale, and you can probably get up a Dragonite pretty easily and then be at +1 to Earthquake your whole team. Landorus, neutral to rock type attacks, intimidates your fighting type attackers. Excuse me, Earthquake destroys your whole team. So this is so negative. I keep repeating it. This is so against my brand when we're talking about Monotype, but I would make the argument that Rock is probably the worst type in Monotype, and that's okay. I think that's okay. It's all right to like playing Ganondorf when you're playing Melee or Brawl or whatever. It's okay to like playing, you know, a non-optimal cart in Mario Kart Wii because you think that the motorcycle, whatever you're using, is cool. That's fine. It's okay to play Ash in League of Legends. Actually, I think she might be high tier nowadays. I played about 5 League of Legends games in my life, and she sucked back then. So it's okay to play, you know, that's fine. And there's no team to worry about either. She's not letting anybody down. It can be a bit of a challenge run to you. You know, I think people take pride in being a low tier hero and seeing how well they can do when the deck is stacked against you like this. And there's also something to be said for matchup and experience, because Rock is, I think, easily one of the least common types on the ladder. So people don't know how to react. They don't know that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be firing off these bullet punches with Scizor so frequently. Then there's this huge flame body Colossal going to swap in. And there's a lot of things in its favor. Like, it's probably got one of the best hazard controls in the game. You have a Rapid Spinner, fantastic. You have Spike Setter, which I've made a video about already in Monotype and why it's incredibly amazing and underrated. Arguably better than Stealth Rocks, but you also have Stealth Rocks and Sticky Webs. Sticky Webs going to pair really well with these slow attackers we talked about. And if you get the right momentum with your Rhyperior or your Tyranitar or your Nihilego, certainly your Nihilego, then you can easily sweep and win the game. So that was my 23 minutes. I haven't recorded a single battle yet. That's my rant on why I don't love Rock, but that's okay. I think, you know, maybe I should rephrase it. It's not that I dislike playing it, because I think it is fun to play. It's more so why I think it is not necessarily competitively viable. You know, I was trying to find a lot of games when I was working in team building in the tournament setting, and I couldn't find any, at least in the modern metagame. So, you know, it's okay. I don't necessarily know there's a single matchup where I go into it and I go, oh, yo, Rock wins this. Rock wins this for sure. I think Ice might be one of your best. Again, Fire is tricky with Cinderace, man. I don't know what you do about Cinderace in this team, right? But that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. We're gonna get a game here. Let's use. I had a whole idea what I was gonna do with laddering for this, but we spent way too long talking about this. As somebody who was in this for the games and didn't want to hear me talk for a long time, I'm sorry. I had to get this off my chest. I'd like to introduce teams, and this is something I hadn't talked about. I also wanted to mention that we're not doing. Okay, true. I'm not using a high ladder team. I tried my best. The highest I could get a team on the ladder was to 1500, and like, you know, then you play like 5 water teams in a row, and you go. So as we just dodge a water team right there, we should do a new team. I promise my next video I make, which I'll probably record like in a couple hours. Honestly, I'm gonna put this one out and work the next one right away. There's Steel, awesome. I'll be trying to play a lot and see how well I can do. But I just, you know, I think discussion videos like this are fair and warranted. We'll leave with our Shuckle here. I'll go for Stealth. No, Sticky Web. Stealth Rock's it's only really good against 2 Pokemon on our opponent's team here. Excadrill. Iron Head is actually a real threat. You know, oh, we got a Stack Attack on this team. That's fun. I just kind of chose this team at random, honestly. What are we working with? Choice Specs now. I'll go. Ugh. Okay. Definitely have a swap in. So let's go for Sticky Webs. Iron Head could totally 2-hit KO us. Keep Sticky Webbing. If he Rapid Spins, that's fine. I just want to keep them up. Iron Head is one of the bigger threats to Shuckle as a lead. Because it can just flinch you and you get nothing up, which is a disaster. Are you Scarf? They're normally Scarf on Mono Steel, but this is a pretty non-standard looking Mono Steel. Let's go to you. Hope we don't get flinched. We're Sash. Anyways, we're just gonna have to try to weaken that Ferrothorn here. As a Rapid Spin, that's a fair trade-off in my opinion. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those. Oh, they don't Earthquake. That's really weird. And they're Sash too. That makes sense why they stay in. They Rapid Spin again. I guess they're faster than me now. Smart play. They do that. Am I going to get 6-0'd? Great question. No, I'm not, because I got Stack Attack. We'll Trick Room here as long as I don't get flinched. Oh, and sorry, one last thought I forgot about too. I know it's not necessary, but another reason why we really took against Bug weirdly more than you expect is that oftentimes you can't lead with your Shuckle, because if you lead with your Shuckle and they go with their Araquanid, which has that super powerful, don't flinch, nice, which has that super powerful liquidation, then they can take like 2 or 3 Pokemon out of the way with you with like no shot very easily. So that's 3 Pokemon on Mono Bug that give you serious trouble. So I wanted to get that out there too. And we don't have Heat Crash on this mon for some reason. I don't know why. It's very upsetting. Let's hope they look to be an offensive set. We're chill with that. That means they don't protect either. Fantastic. We didn't miss our Stone Edges either. We love to see it. And Ferrothorn's gonna be next for sure. Boy, do I wish I had Heat Crash, but we'll get maybe half of its health. Not even close. Oh, it's a defensive set here. That's weird. They're cursed too, so I'm not gonna set up Trick Room again. If they kill me, which they definitely could, that means that we're outpaced. Are you gonna do? Okay, I was wondering if they were gonna throw in Leech Seed for recovery too, but now they're gonna start attacking me. Okay, there we go. That makes more sense. Okay, so Nihilego goes completely wall. They're only special attacker. Fabulous. Go to T-Tar, probably on a body press and die. Okay, there we go. We outspeed and we kill. Curse sets are funny, man. We all want them to work. It's such a cool concept, but like, it's tricky. It's tricky. Stack Attack is not going to get a chance to do anything else at this point. A Body Press Metagross. All right. This is my best chance to use Nihilego. Hope you're not Bullet Punch. Gotta be Thunderbolt. What a weird Nihilego set this is. Again, I think I'm gonna be doing for this video and the next one, just choosing mono rock teams at random. Not overthink it too much. Man, I'm still gonna lose this game, man, aren't I? Does he outspeed my Tyranitar? I should see if he's max HP based off this spread. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, this is curious. The only way he could get it to do so little damage here was if he was, yeah, max HP. Soul Vest. That's not what I had in the cards here, but yeah, we gotta kill this thing, and then we got a chance to win with Terrakion, which I like the odds of decently. We'll go for the Earthquake here. It's gonna be max HP. We're banded. I'm inclined to say we kill, but I'm definitely not sure. And even then, if we get the kill here, there's a chance that Tyranitar could take out one more. Okay, so we do get the kill. That's fantastic. Choice Band Tyranitar is honestly one of my favorite Pokemon. Oh no. We don't really sand either, so Earth Power's gonna do a ton. Okay, that's fine. Please get the kill. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so we do take a win here. It was touch and go there. And this guy's Lumberry. Okay, that's right. In my head, he was Choice Scarf. Okay, so we do take the win. And you know, I think you can still win a lot of matchups. Okay, you know, Steel I ragged on earlier. I think Steel is not that bad depending on how you handle the Celesteela. And I think, you know, I talked about this a little bit before, but just because it's a bad typing competitively doesn't mean it's like you can't use it, you can't have fun enjoying it. Of course, again, a lot of people take joy from using a lower tier type. I hate even talking about tiers in general because I prefer people just play what they want and have fun with it, and that's why me ragging on it just seems lame. But also in neutral typings, like against Ghost, against Electric, against I know a lot of neutral typings, honestly. Against Ghost, Electric, and Dark, I have a lot of fun playing Mono Rock, honestly. Like, I'm not even just talking about my ass. I've been playing it a lot recently, just being like praying for a good matchup, not just for selfish reasons, but just so I could get a good game in. We're gonna see Mono Water here. Again, I don't think it's as bad as you think. The lack of Bear Scoot is pretty comforting so far. I'm gonna go for Shuckle right out of the gates. It's not as important to get up hazards immediately. Okay, I'm gonna Encore. I don't want you Shell Smashing. But our biggest concern is just limiting the speedy attackers. Although again, I'm not even seeing that, so I think this was a bad lead because I don't really care about getting up stuff so much. Actually, I want rocks. Ironically, I want rocks more than webs with this team. We're sturdy, so I guess I can Encore after their Shell Smash. So I'll stealth rock. The way that they led so confidently, I almost want to feel like they're not this set. I won't even change my team either. Damn, I meant to change the team every time. Oh well. Actually, I should have Encored. Anyways, doesn't matter. They're gonna do this, yeah. I knew you were gonna do it. Let's go to. So they have Encore for 3 turns starting forward. So we go Stack Attacka, that's 1. Trick Room, that's 2. Earthquake, that's 3. They're probably Sash. So I want to knock off 1. Switch Attacka, that's 2. And then on 3, Trick Room. I think that works in my head, right? Let's try it. Knock off. It was Select Spray the whole time. Oh, my Stack Attacka plan was genius. It's 2. Then I have Trick Room for 3. Nice. With the Earthquake, this is definitely the mono I want to get going the most. Again, I've been playing a lot of different mono rock teams, trying to see what works and what doesn't. And I'll be honest, despite my professed love of Stack Attacka, we haven't been seeing too much of it. I haven't used very much of it at all lately. They go to the worst possible one they could go to right here. That's amazing. We might just sweep 6-0 right now. That's pretty fabulous. Please hit, for the love of God. Nice. If that guy got something off, that'd be scary. Glycopod, you're going to have priority here, but we can take that. That's fine with me. It was bound to miss at some point. Again, it's why I freaking hate this. Typing maybe more than anything else. This guy's dead. I don't really want to swap to anybody either, so we'll do this, and I'll go to my... I guess Shuckle, maybe knock off its band. I'm guessing it's got... It'd be hilarious if they choke this and click something else. Aqua Jet, fine by me. Let's go to Tyranitar, change the weather. Developer's dead, so we won the weather war. Then I'll just crunch. Which of a coward to Stone Edge. Oh, I thought that would take it to emergency exit. It does look to be banded though. We outspeed these remaining 2 mons. Slowbro's an interesting choice. We're gonna just kill you. Glycopod should be taking 25% now. It's fantastic. With Sandstorm, it's not gonna be able to sweep us. And Araquanid, we got lots of Pokemon for. So I think we're good to take this 2-0. And I'm already 34 minutes in the recording. I've been recording really long videos lately. So I'm gonna call it there. I want to get one more, but I talked way too long there. I apologize if, you know, I don't know. Maybe in the future, do you guys want me to, if I feel myself on a rant like that, do I go off? Do I contain myself so I can play more games? Because there's definitely, I get it when people are just frustrated by a lack of games, but I want to talk my ish. I don't know. My inclination is just to say what I want to say. Again, I promise next video, which I'll record very shortly, we'll be playing some more. Should be fun. They'll Aqua Jet here for the kill, and then I'll go to my Barbicle to win the game. Assuming hit the Stone Edge, which we do. Very nice. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. That's me done. I'll catch you next time with a little bit more Mono Rock. And hey, we're undefeated so far. Maybe I'll do a video where it's I play till I lose. That's actually, you know what? Saying that out loud, that's a fun one. So I'll catch you next time. Take it easy.